You're listening to the Trail Network podcast hosted by Rachel Drake, Leah Yingling, Hilary Yang, and myself, Katie Asmuth. We're here to celebrate the community connections and untold stories within trail running. And today we're going to talk about, lots of things, but we mostly want to dive into UTMB takeaways and then also have a very fun story and catch up with Rachel that you may or may not know about. So we're going to dive into that. So you got to stay tuned because it's going to be a fun discussion. How's everybody doing? Leah, how are you today?
Thriving over here. My mom just left. She was here for 10 days while Mike went out to shoot UTMB with Nike and ACG. So I was curious how I would handle the first week plus of not having my partner in crime here. But honestly, my mom might have topped Mike in terms of like all things grandma. She did awesome. And man, it was so nice having her here. But we got Mike back yesterday. And while he was a waste of life with jet lag, it's really nice to have him home.
You're like, tell me about that sleep deprivation life, Mike.
Yeah, I know. Me and my mom were like trying to accomplish things outside, put up things on our patio. And I asked Mike to help me get a ladder down and he was on the couch. I was like, literally all I need you to do is stand up in the garage with your arms up and make sure I don't drop this ladder on the car. And he's like, okay. I was like, you can go back to the couch after you're done with this. He's like, okay, I can do this.
You got this.
You're like, don't worry about it. I got everything else.
Yeah.
Just grab the ladder. Oh my gosh. That's funny.
Can we get an update about Mike and UTMB, like UTMB week? I mean, I saw a bunch of amazing shots, but
man,
how is it?
He's wild. Like he made the decision to go out to UTMB probably about like 2 to 3 weeks ago. After we knew Monty was going to be here a little bit early, we figured like I could handle him being away at this time. And within 24 hours of being in Chamonix, he summited Mount Blanc with Caleb Olson, which is wild for Mike because he has no mountaineering experience, but I think also speaks to Caleb's experience as like a mountain guide and somebody that's really skilled in the mountains to make Mike feel comfortable doing such a feat. So he ended up shooting a lot of that adventure for Nike on the way up. And I mean, he got some really cool shots and then ended up shooting OCC, CCC, and UTMB for them as well. And had a great experience. Said it very much felt like a work trip. And he was kind of heads down with work most of the time there. But I think had a lot of like really great takeaways. And I was a great just professional experience for him.
And he climbed Mont Blanc, right?
Mont Blanc. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So cool.
That's a big deal.
If you don't follow at Shit in the Woods, our listeners mostly.
What are you even doing?
But if you don't, so good. Oh my gosh. There were like icebergs up there. Yeah. It was crazy.
It was really neat. I loved living vicariously through him. I would like pop on Instagram and be like, you were where today? You did what? I was like, I'm sitting on the couch over here with a sweet little angel baby, but that also looks cool.
Please don't fall. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, we talked a little bit last week about all of our perspectives on UTMB and just sort of our history with the race and all the things. It was sort of funny that none of us were there because it felt like every freaking person in the whole wide universe of trail running was there. And I thought it was kind of fun to get to watch it, like to see it unfold in a way when you're not there. And I found like I was really noticing, first of all, like shout out to UTMB. I thought they did a good job of covering the women's fields in the races this year. I mean, we can get into like what we thought of the races, but CCC was like the women's race, and that was so freaking exciting. Yeah. And I was like give kudos where they're deserved. And I feel like it's really cool to see the progress that's being made and how excited people were about the women. And I felt like just overall, there was a lot better job done of sort of calling out the women's race throughout and not just like at the end as an afterthought when the men were finished,
Totally.
So that was really cool. That was actually like, I was really stoked on that.
Yeah, I still think people seem to recognize when covering CCC, the end of CCC and the beginning of UTMB at the same time provides lots of complications. And I think this year it was infringing on the women's finishing times a bit, and covering like the 45 minutes up to the UTMB start when you're like, just show us CCC. We don't really care about the elite runners walking to the start line. So I think they're still like figuring that out seems a little more complex, but I was so pleased to be able to see a good portion of the later women's race, especially.
Yeah, no, that's a good call out. And I know like even the commentators were like, we're trying. And I feel like, yeah, every year they have to dial it in. And I think also CCC is getting so competitive, whereas maybe before it wasn't quite so premier, and like I think the fact that OCC and CCC had the crazy stacked fields, just like now they really need to do the coverage of those just as much. And so that was
Exactly.
kind of interesting to see that, right? But
Can we just give a shout out because Martina Milinarczyk, I'm not going to say her name right, from Poland, who is an absolute crusher, runs for Hoka. She was in Western States this year, led the race for, 40 miles or something with Ida Nelson and Abby Hall, and was just absolutely slaying, and then ended up DNFing at States. And she came out, last year she was second at CCC, and she came in to CCC as clearly one of the favorites because she was second in 2024, but absolutely destroyed this day, ran a perfect race. But Sylvia Nordskar, who I know of her as like a fast kind of sub ultra distance, like she's done Golden Trail series before. I didn't
One
know that she would.
Zegama.
Yeah, she did. She won Zegama. Okay. I think of her as a shorter distance runner. And so for her, you guys, she was 18 seconds behind. So she was second place. And I'm like, just that throwdown when Sylvia passed Martina, we got it all on the live stream. And then to watch this and listening to Martina's interviews after the fact and about how she's like comes from road. And so her downhill technical running in the rain, in the mud, and then watching Sylvia do it. And she's just like, I'm not going to be able to hang. And then they get to the flatter section. And that's when she was able to put some seconds on her and was able to beat her by 18 seconds, but just like absolutely nail biting, like it could have gone either way. And I just had so much fun watching that CCC race. I'm planning on racing it next year too. So I'm like more invested in it because of that,
terrified.
And then I was like, oh my God, obviously, it's a much faster race and it's getting faster and faster. And you have to think of it almost as like a fast 50 miler, but because it's so fast. And anyway, it's pretty wild. I also loved, I was on a run when I was listening to Ruth's finish, UTMB, and getting the Triple Crown. And she's won OCC, CCC, and UTMB now. And, Ruth's a friend of all of ours. And it was just so fun to be able to watch her this like 10-year journey to get to that win and what she's put into UTMB. And anyway, it's just like, oh man, all the feels. It was just really fun. And I actually really thought this was a breakthrough race, in my opinion, with the women's coverage. I really was, in my opinion, for sure.
It was fun. I definitely did a few runs throughout the weekend where I had just like the YouTube stream in my pocket, trying not to turn it off, because I have the free one. And so I'd have to keep the screen open in my pocket and I'd be running along and listening to it. And it was like having a friend along for the ride. I really enjoyed it. It was great. It was like, they did a good job. Ruth winning.
Shout out Stephanie Case, huh?
Yeah.
Man, she
ultra coverage. Yeah. She did really good. It was really, really fun to watch. Yeah. So all the things. Now I feel like the boy Scott Jurek meme of Debo looking all sad because Western States
is all of
and
us now.
UTMB and everything is over. It's like, we're all like, oh, that's the summer.
We still got Worlds.
Seems like the end of the competitive season.
Yeah.
I think we need to give a shout out to Lottie Brinks also. She got 6th at CCC in a really fast time. And then Lauren Puretz, oh my gosh, top 10, top American at UTMB. Pretty wild. So anyways, just really.
I think something that's cool about these races too are there's often the series of favorites going into the race. Like we can look at CCC, for example, and look at Ingvild and Tony McCann, who are both prior champions of CCC, and they both unfortunately had to drop out of that race. But it opens the door for a whole slew of other people to have their day. And I think we saw something similar at UTMB with Courtney having probably not her perfect day out there, but it led to names that I've never heard of in the UTMB top 10. Like these celebrations amongst runners in the CCC top 10. I think the 5th place finisher from France had one of the just best celebrations of the day. She went up and down the chute like multiple times, just celebrating what looked like a breakout race for herself. You mentioned Lottie. I think Robin Lesh too from the US, who got
7th, I think.
7th place. Yeah. Like those were such breakout performances for them. And I think it really allows for other people to kind of shine a little bit brighter whenever, unfortunately, other people don't quite have their days.
Well, and like, I mean, obviously the weather was like the biggest factor going into UTMB. And I remember saying to someone the night, and we're all going to bed as the race is sort of kicking off and all that, and just saying like, we'll wake up in the morning and we'll know who managed the weather. Like it really was going to be a race of like who could manage the layers and stay warm. And because of that, it was like wild. And we saw, crazy results play out over all the different elites. And like people like Francois de Haindrop, who he is a true mountain athlete. You can't say, oh, it's only the people that aren't experienced in the mountains that couldn't hang. It's like, no, like there's so many things that go into managing that sort of weather. Like, I mean, it was like snowing, right? Like sideways hail, rain, snow. Like Billy said, it was so cold. So yeah.
Which also speaks volumes to the spectators out there. Oh my gosh, right? Like the people that are out there just watching, like lining the streets and just like shivering in the hail and the snow. And you're just like, man, there's so many cool fans out there that are here for the love of the sport. It was just really fun to watch. Anyway, sorry, Rach, I was interrupted you. What were you gonna say?
No, you're good. I was gonna ask Leah what her nights were like and if she was able to follow along at all during the night, because I was able to check in multiple times throughout the night. And
honestly, having a newborn is the way to track UTMB. Like you are up multiple times throughout the night, and I talked to Mike more throughout UTMB than I think I did all trip, just because I was up in the middle of the night most of the nights. But it did lead for me. I'd be up doing a feeding, and then I'd be like, okay, I should go back down now. I should go to sleep. But then I'd pull up the tracker. I'd text with my friends about what's going on in the race, and it was very bad for my sleep, but great for my ultra fanning over here. How about you, Rach?
That's so funny. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, same. I was texting so one of Tyler's athletes, Jay Check, was racing UTMB, and I was texting with his wife, who is a CRNA at the Children's Hospital where I went to med school. And she, you guys, this is so impressive. She was crewing her husband with their 3 young boys, taking shuttles everywhere all throughout the night. And they actually made it on the UTMB Instagram channel because they were all wearing matching rainbow unicorn onesies.
I love that so much.
When you think about like the spirit of the sport, like that is, to me, like that is it. Like young family, mom with the 3 kids crewing. She sent me a picture of them all sleeping in the sports complex in Courmayeur. Like,
my gosh,
that is so cool. That's life goals right there.
Yeah, that's a real family team effort. That's really cute.
Yeah, it's
awesome. Funny because the kids probably won't remember because they're so young.
No, they're like, I think they're like 7, 8, and like 10 or
totally
something.
Remember.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I actually want to get her on the pod because I feel like I want to know how she did that. Like that's cool.
Superstar.
Yeah, that's some ultra crewing.
Yeah.
Should we give a sneak peek of who we're having on the pod, Leah? Do you want to, or no?
Oh, yeah. I think in the coming week, hopefully, we'll have Carolina. She's awesome. She just had a 45+ hour finish at UTMB. She does so much great work for our immigrant population and diversity and inclusivity initiatives in the past with HOKA, with GU. Just an awesome representation for like everything that is fulfilling in the sport. So we'll have her on hopefully in the next couple weeks. So yeah, stay tuned for that episode.
I'm so excited to hear how her race went. And I have so much admiration for everyone who finished this year. And I think, the elites got hit hard. Obviously, there's a lot of attrition with that. But the rest of the pack got even more of the weather for longer. And just managing that and trying to stay warm and trying to stay positive and, like going through the second night when you're just still cold and wet, all of that. Really, really excited for her that she finished and can't wait to hear from her. It was interesting, right? Like, I mean, we were saying a few minutes ago, just that the race played out differently than we expected and some of the like names that were projected and blah, blah, blah. Obviously, some of the front runners, didn't have the day that they wanted. And obviously Emily Hoggett is a good friend of mine, and I was following along with her race very closely, and she was a big part of my race at Hard Rock this year when I had a very hard and long walk around the mountains and, finished just for the sake of finishing. And I was just really reflecting on that. And I want to kind of get your guys' thoughts on that too. Just sort of, the other big one would be Courtney, right? Like also didn't have the day that she wanted, and really chose to sort of finish what she started, even though it wasn't her day. I think looking at both of those two women who are just such accomplished athletes, I was reflecting on the value of finishing when we decide to do that. And, like sometimes I think DNFs are inevitable. Katie, you probably have some thoughts on that too, but yeah, I just thought it was really powerful. Like I was crying when Emily finished for sure, and also Courtney, and it was like there's something really powerful about that, even when you don't have your day to still go out there and kind of acknowledge that and finish it. And I had so much respect for them.
I think it's so important to reiterate how we should never judge what an athlete's decision is, because every athlete's going to make that decision for themselves. We don't know what came before. We don't know what's coming after. We don't know their goals. We don't know their why. We don't know anything. And I think it's so easy from the outside to be like celebrate that they finished whatever race it was, right? Or to be like disappointed if somebody pulls out, or maybe the opposite, like, oh, but they took care of themselves and sometimes it's not your day, move on. It's like everybody has an opinion about whatever the outcome is. If it's not your day, how the athlete handled it. And I'm just here to say that I think it's totally the athlete's discretion. And I think the athlete might have regret if they finished, because then they're absolutely destroyed for the next race, or they might have regret if they didn't finish. Like you're just bummed out that you didn't have the day that you're capable of, right? And that's from front of the pack to the back of the pack, right? And of course, that's frustrating because you're like, I put in so much work to get to that finish line in the time that I felt like I could do. And then it didn't happen. And it's sad and it's frustrating. You can spend, days, weeks, months kind of reminiscing on it and kind of, I think ruminating on this and spiraling really on whatever outcome you decided. So anyways, I did not finish Leadville and I don't have any regrets. It was not my day. I was, I could it have taken me 10 hours to walk 20 miles? Probably. I could have done it, right? But that was not my goal for Leadville. I wanted to run Leadville well. And if there was a fight for 5th place, that would not have been what I felt like I was capable of. But I would have been stoked to at least be able to finish hard and finish well. But I gave myself 50 miles to turn my race around. And it was getting worse and worse and worse. I was so weak and so debilitated and dizzy and falling off the trail. And that's not fun, So for me, I don't feel bad about it. I'm like, you know what? I gave it hell. I gave it my all. I stayed positive, kept moving forward. Still really bummed that it wasn't the day I was capable of. And that was what happened. But I know I'm a fighter. I know I care deeply. And I know that I don't just give up on things. And I'm really proud of that effort. And I got to be happy with it. And I hope that the runners that were out there at UTMB, whether they DNF'd or whether they finished the loop, that they look back and they're like, I made the right decision for myself. Because I think that's the hardest, right? When you look back at your race and you're like, oh, I just wish I finished, or oh, I just wish I just stopped because now I'm so depleted and now I have no interest in running for the next 4 months, So I think it's a personal decision. And I hope that whatever decisions were made, people feel like they were in the right or satisfied with those decisions. But it's not always the case. And I guess I'm sort of sugarcoating it because I think it can be a gray area where you can feel a little bit of twinges of, oh, but would it have turned around in the next 20 miles of Leadville, or would it have,
But
and there's always the what ifs, right? But I think at one point you just got to move on too and be on to the next and can't spiral.
Yeah. It's also a question of just what do you value? What are you going to get out of gritting through walking 80 miles or something? Is that valuable to you? If not, why do it? I mean, I think we've all probably had races where we've either finished and been proud of that, even though the result wasn't what we were hoping for. I'm thinking of my speed goat race, and I don't even know what year it was, but I think I ran it in 9.5 hours. Guys, this was a 50K. And it was surely not the day I was hoping for, but I still look back on that and when I'm feeling tired or weak or something, I look back on that and I think, but I finished that race. I'm really, really proud of that. Like the
That's awesome.
popsicles were melted by the time I got to the aid stations, but like that was a good exercise in fortitude and just gritting it out. If it had been 100 miles, there's no way I would have been able to finish it. But I think there's like, you can see it as a way to exercise your mental strength or, you know, thinking about what you're trying to get out of it.
And I think that speaks to the importance of having goals going into a race. I think like we've all been there where our goal going into the race is different per the race. When I ran UTMB in 2023, like I was closing that loop whether I liked it or not, like regardless of how my day went. And that was my goal from the start, pending any serious injury. But you have those days sometimes where you're like, I'm going to put it all out there. I'm going to see what I can get out of myself. And like, that is I want to win this thing. I want to podium this thing. And maybe you're not having that day. And like, it's in your power. It's in your right to say, hey, that wasn't like my goal for this race wasn't just to quote unquote finish it. It was to win this thing. It was to podium this thing. And I have other goals this summer, this winter, this fall, whatever. And I want to be healthy for that. So I think it also speaks to having those A, B, C goals. And, we're in control of our trail running destiny, and we can make those decisions, and people's judgments of those should not matter. And I know that's easier said than done.
Leah, can you explain just what ABC goals are for? I'm thinking of my mom because I know she listens to the podcast, and I know we throw around a lot of language around that not
Totally.
everyone has heard.
Yeah, I think like let's take Western States, for example. You might have just gotten a golden ticket into Western States, and you're running your Western States for the first time. That's a huge, huge accomplishment. And some people, wait on the lottery list 10 years just to get in. So I think a lot of people, when they finally get into Western States, they're like, regardless of how my day goes, I am finishing this thing. And maybe finishing is your C goal. Let's say it's one of us is lining up for Western States. We're like, okay, B goal is top 10. Like I know I can be in the top 10 at Western States, but if I'm having my absolute best day out there, my goal is to win this or podium. So I think in that case, I would say win or podium would be like my personal A goal. My B goal would be top 10, and then C goal would be finishing the thing. And I think that those ABC goals can vary by person, and by, I think, even like situation or season of life. Like I think I will have very different ABC goals depending on what season of life I'm in, depending on, where I'm at in like a return to running or when I'm at my peak of my career. It's going to be different. And I think we also need to make sure we don't hold ourselves to similar standards across the lifespan of our careers in ultra running, because I think our goals might differ quite significantly over time too.
I love that, Leah. I think that's a really beautiful way of saying it and breaking it down. And I think that's something I'm realizing, and I think sort of every athlete has to confront at some point, right? It's like there is a season to all these times, and your goals have to change accordingly to all the other like things that are going on in life.
Yeah, on that note, though, Hilary, too, the season could change within the race. That's what's so cool about ultras, is that you can go in with your ABC goal, and then it could change very drastically, right? Where you're like, wow, it was like my F goal to finish the loop at UTMB, because I'm like, well, hell yeah, of course I'm doing that. But like, first I want to win, then I want a podium, then I want top 5, then I want top 10, then I want top 20, that sort of thing. And then it's like, that's the thing about these long distances, that so much can happen within it. That's really life in a day, that your ABC goals might change. And so I think it's important to be flexible about it as you fall and you get hurt, or you, whatever, have GI upset and things happen. And I just think it's really important to have those like that flexibility, so you don't go into the race and you're just disappointed, because being disappointed all the time is not fun. You can't just always be disappointed in your races. Like, gotta find some joy in here. And like, I've changed the goal. Now my A goal is to finish, and I think that's important too, to celebrate that A goal, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I loved when they interviewed Courtney at the finish line, and I wasn't sure if she'd even want to be interviewed. And, like, I thought that was brave for her to sort of be like, yeah, like, let's do it. And, being French, they're very blunt. They basically were like, why'd you finish? And I was like, oh, but I thought her answer was beautiful, because it was very much in the spirit of like, well, I respect UTMB, and UTMB is a race that I feel is worth finishing the loop for. And I thought it sort of speaks to what we're saying here, which is like, not every race is that race for us. For me, Hard Rock was that race where I was like, I went into it being like, I'm going to finish no matter what. I've had other races where I'm like, I don't give a flying F if I like finish or not, like it's, I'd like to do it, but if it doesn't work out, it's okay. It's not, it's like you only have so many of those races to spend your energy on in that way, right? It's like you burn a match every time you decide to sort of really dig deep and gut it out to that level. And it really is like you can see it on the faces of people that are finishing when it's just like 10 hours longer than you think it's going to be or whatever it is. Like that's burning a match. And so it's like I think it's worth acknowledging the races that you think are important enough to you, right? And sometimes you might not know that until you're in it. Like you said, Katie, like sometimes you might not realize, oh, this is really important to me to do this. Or it's okay, I can let go of this. Like I can make peace with it, and I think that's also beautiful to recognize too.
Yeah, I think something that's important, especially for other elite runners in the sport, is to almost approach the race with the mindset of somebody who just got into this race off the lottery that took them many years to get into, or like somebody who's running UTMB for the first time. I think we're privileged in the sense that it's been quite easy to get into UTMB and UTMB races over the last few years, that we often see a lot of elites stacking up the DNFs at the distance over time because they're like, yeah, I'll just tackle this next summer. I'll have my day next summer. But I think, there's a lot of curiosity with somebody who just got in for the first time and is seeing this as this grand adventure for the first time. And I think we could benefit from that same perspective as somebody who has like often an easier time of getting into these races. And it might inspire you to gut it out a little bit more when you're kind of questioning why the heck you're out there and what you're doing with yourself.
UTMB was exciting. It's fun to watch all the races, but also fun to embrace all these other seasons of life. And I'm just looking at all four of you guys on the screen and so stoked that we can keep doing this through all the seasons and through all the sleepless nights that you guys are having, Rachel and Leah. And Rachel, we wanted to celebrate you a little bit today. And you've had some very exciting changes. I know we've alluded to it a little bit and you posted on social media, but we wanted to take the time to just dive into it a little bit and hear your stories of how everything's gone and how life has changed in the last little while and whether that's different than you expected or just, yeah. I mean, I don't know where to start, but I guess just I don't know, from before you got to meet little baby and then just like where you are now. Like that's been a whirlwind the last few weeks for you, right?
Rachel had a baby.
Yeah,
Do we announce it?
Like, if you announce it, that works. Yay.
This is a big celebration
Trail
podcast.
Network pod. Yeah. It's been a hard year. Like the pregnancy itself was a journey. Just like some health issues kind of early on, some really big scares early on. And then kind of once we got through that, things were going really well. My OB is actually one of my friends from medical school who practices at the University of Utah. And I am so grateful for her because I wasn't going to appointments at normal times. I would kind of just show up when I had time. And she just like met me where I was at in residency and took incredible care of me. I texted her a few days actually before Chloe ended up being born. And I was like, hey, I just took my blood pressure in pre-op, which is where we see patients before they come back for surgery. And my blood pressure was in like the 140s over 90s, which is high. And she's like, I'm coming to find you. And I was like consenting a patient and I see her like flash by outside the room and she just like looks at me and like points at me and she's like, you got to get out here. And I went out in the hallway and she's like, I think we need to have this baby now. Like you have gestational hypertension and like your baby's fully cooked. So we're not getting anything and there's no benefit by you continuing the pregnancy, which I thought I had another week. So I was just a little bit like, can we wait a few days? Can we? And she's like, I think we should just do this. And it ended up being that we were supposed to get called in basically to be induced to have the baby, which is what Leah had, like an induction. But the power went out at another hospital nearby, actually the hospital where I did my intern year. And so they had to transfer out all their laboring patients to other hospitals. So the University of Utah was essentially full and we didn't get called in at all. Like we were just sitting around waiting. And eventually, like, we just had my water broken and we went in, and with Lewis, my labor was 25 hours long, and I labored with Chloe for like 5 hours, and they checked my cervix and they're like, "Oh, you're 7 centimeters." And I was like, "Dang, this is like really intense." Like, I feel like either I'm going to poop my pants or I'm going to have a baby, like one of the two, but something is coming out of me imminently. And my
Did you have an
OB,
epidural? Can I ask?
no,
No,
no.
you didn't. So you felt it. You could feel it
I
all.
felt it all. And I said to Tyler, I was like, I mean, I would like an epidural, but there's no way I'm sitting still for one at this point. Like, contractions are coming every minute. They're so intense. I'm not sitting still, plain and
Right.
simple. Like, we're in it. And it was kind of cool because like my OB wasn't the one that was like covering the floor at the time, but she showed up. I was in the middle of a contraction. I was standing up. I had my elbows on the hospital bed, and I just felt like these cold hands over my hands, and I look up and she's just like right there. Like we're like forehead to forehead. And it was just the coolest thing. Like she showed up. She had to catch a flight in like 2 hours to go visit actually one of our other friends in Alaska. And I was like, I know they just said I was 7 centimeters, but I swear something's happening. She's like, "Do you want me to check you?" And I was like, "Yes, but do I have to get in the bed? Because I don't like being in the bed." And she's like, "Nope, I can check you just standing up." So she checked me and she was like, "You're complete. Where do you want to push? Like, you're 10 centimeters." And I was like, "Can I just push standing up?" And she's like, "Yep, you got it. Whatever you want." And I pushed on the next contraction and Chloe popped out and
My
Tyler started
God.
crying.
Oh.
And it was awesome.
What was your
Oh my
OB
gosh.
wearing?
Yeah, she was so cool. She's wearing cowboy boots and like her clinic clothes. So like normally, they have time, they come in, they like get a gown on, they put boot covers on because it's like, there's blood, there's amniotic fluid, lots of things. She just had her cowboy boots on and like, yeah,
I love that
it was
so
just
much.
rad. It was so cool.
It's like the
Yeah.
best, the most incredible image, just like two women, like almost having just a moment. Like you got to kind of share that moment together, right? And like you're
It
both just in
was
the trenches.
it was so special. Like I cry every time I think about just like how cool it was to like have that kind of care. And yeah, I just felt really supported and safe. And like I think as a pregnant person, like you have your own intuitions about things. And I know when you guys talked about Monty's birth, like Leah had these intuitions like to check her blood pressure, and like also when she knew that like things were okay and she could stay pregnant a little bit longer, like I really felt supported throughout my pregnancy and my intuitions, and even like wanting to deliver standing up. That's not something that I think a lot of like providers necessarily, I don't know if they're not comfortable with it because it's just less easy for them to see or what, but like yeah, it was great.
Yeah, Rach, that's amazing to hear too, because something you and I chatted about on an earlier podcast this year was just how different your two pregnancies were and how nearly everything
Mhm.
with Lou's pregnancy and labor and delivery was like closer to ideal. And then with this
Yeah.
one, you had a lot more ups and downs. So to have your
Mhm.
delivery day go in such a powerful, like meaningful, soul-filling way, I think probably
Yes.
made the whole pregnancy feel a little bit like safer and more just like happy and joyful for you.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, without like going into a ton of details, like yeah, the pregnancy itself was like very, very traumatic. And like, I mean, Leah, you were there with me through it all. And yeah, it was really nice to have a positive birth experience. Yeah.
Rach, do you think during that time when you were having those struggles, do you think maybe you let go to some of that control, and that maybe during the birth you felt like you had the control again, or you felt that support that you could actually voice your needs and say how your body was feeling, and it felt validated and right, and like it was kind of like Leah mentioned, a kind of a closure to like a tough season, and then being able to be like, okay, we can do this. We're healthy. I trust my baby and my body.
I don't think so. I think there's a fear that comes with being a parent that never really goes away. Like, I still worry about Lewis. I still worry about Chloe. Like, I don't feel totally just like, oh, thankfully everything's great. Like, it does feel good to have, the baby out out in the world and be healthy, but I think there's just like, at least for me, there's just this kind of level of like heightened sense of awareness of like, is that okay? Is that okay? Like,
Totally.
I think I'm a pretty laid back parent, but I still have fears about my kids.
So vulnerable, right? Like it's like your whole heart is outside of your body in a way, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like there's two pieces of my soul out in the world, and like Lou's at daycare right now, and I'm like, I hope he's okay. I miss him. Yeah. Yeah, it's really vulnerable.
how'd you decide on the name Chloe? It's such a pretty name.
I don't really know where it came from. When we were pregnant with Lewis, we didn't know if we were having a boy or a girl, and Chloe was the girl name that we liked. I don't know, we just try to think of names that are both kind of can be cute, but also could be professional down the road. So I think that that kind of fits that bill. And then her middle name is Gloria, which is my mom's name. Um, I just think my mom's going to listen to this, so this will make her feel good. But she's just truly like my favorite person in the world. She's incredible, like an incredible parent, an incredible, she was a nurse anesthetist, and I'm doing anesthesia. So she's like an amazing healthcare provider. She's a bee farmer. She's a great cook. She just like, she does everything, and yeah, does it with such joy. So
Yeah, and not that we don't appreciate our moms prior to being mothers ourselves, but I do think, Rach, you and I were chatting, I think just yesterday, about just how much our moms mean to us, and especially whenever they step into the role of grandma and support us, and how much you then almost realize the sacrifice that it was to like bring us up as children, adolescents, now adults, and just like the care with which they provide at this stage of our life just feels extra special when you think about the sacrifice, and hopefully we can provide the same for, a future generation ourselves.
yeah, we were talking to your mom
Yeah.
yesterday about her pregnancy with you and your sister, because you're a twin, and just hearing her talk about her, she's like, yeah, I had petechiae on my stomach, and I had to hold my belly when I walked down the stairs because I had 13 pounds of baby in there. Like, hearing her talk about that and having recently gone through a pregnancy, I think, Leah, you're like, yeah, I gave birth to less than 5 pounds. And I was like, oh, I'm so pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It is. Yeah. I mean, it's really cool. Obviously, I'm the only one now that hasn't had this experience, but I think just getting older, you start to see your parents as
Totally.
like real full humans, like in all their flaws, but also in how hard they tried. And I think that's something I really appreciate about my parents too. And I think it's a beautiful name. It's a beautiful way to honor
Yeah.
your mom through Chloe Rach. I think that's really, really special. Also, your mom sounds freaking rad. I want to meet her. Hi, Gloria.
She's so cool.
Gloria.
She's our number one fan.
Rach, I also saw the cutest picture of Lewis with his little sister. How is Lou adjusting to being a big brother, and how has like everything else in the household changed since you brought Chloe home?
Oh, it feels suddenly so much more chaotic. Like, Chloe is a chill baby, but the other day, what happened? Oh, Lewis had figured out how to like open our front door. So he's like about to cross the street. He let
No.
Teddy out. He let Teddy out in the process, and Chloe was crying, and I was cooking a quesadilla I was about to burn. And I was like, what do I do? Like,
What's top priority?
my goodness, what's the top priority right now? I've got like multiple, yeah. I feel like
Triaging.
having a dog too. I'm like, man, this is chaos. And actually, we went camping last weekend because I got a little stir crazy, and it was so funny. We were down by this creek. Tyler was fishing. I was like, ooh, I'm going to breastfeed. Lewis can throw some rocks in the water. Teddy can swim. It's going to be great. Teddy disappeared and came back as like this algae monster. He had turned green. He gets tangled up in Tyler's fishing line, and then he's walking around Tyler, wrapping Tyler up. Lewis is like stuck in the muck. Chloe's crying. She's not latching. I was just like, this is chaos.
This is life.
Hashtag real life, you know?
This is life. This is not what I envisioned, but this is life.
Like, did you just laugh that off?
I was like peeing my pants laughing in the moment. I was like, this is crazy. What were we thinking?
Oh, so fun. Continuing to adventure.
Exactly.
Are you wearing the Osprey packs for her? She's too little.
Rachel,
No, they
shout
have
out
a soft carrier.
Yeah, shout out to the Osprey team. Our team manager, Leland, just reached out to me and Rach a couple days ago and are sending us both. Actually, I think Rachel's probably went to go get hers right now. New soft pack carriers for both of our little ones. There it is.
Look at you for them.
The Poco
Oh
soft
my
child
gosh.
carrier, which is great for especially like newborn age through, upwards of the first year of life, for front facing, forward facing, however you choose to carry your little one for adventures.
Oh,
back
so
carry.
cute.
You can put
You
them
guys
on
will
the
be
back
matching.
too.
Yeah. And then
Oh
they
my
also
gosh.
have this really cool like changing pad. So it's basically just like a very durable, high quality Osprey product that packs down, and then it has all these different pockets for you to put in like diapers and wipes and stuff. So yeah, we're really filling out
Aw.
our kid kit with this great Osprey stuff.
You're utilizing everything.
And it's Blue Sign approved. Both products are Blue Sign approved, which is their like sustainability kind of mark of sustainable products. Yeah, renewable. So
cute.
it's great.
Well,
yeah.
we did see an adorable photo of Monty and Chloe hanging out together, looking really friggin' cute.
They
So
look
I feel
brother and
like
sister.
there's going to be some hikes in your guys' near future, which is really special that you get to be so close to each other during this season of life. Right? Like, how cool is that?
We're so grateful. We just had an appointment today with a early intervention specialist, and they asked us like who we have around us and like who we're supported by. And I was like, well, locally we have no family, but we have a whole slew of best friends out here who are going through similar journeys. And I think it speaks volumes to the people in our community out here, and especially having like Rachel and Tyler with their little one so close in age. I know we're going to be on tons of special adventures over the next couple of years. And it's always nice to know that, you know, if somebody needs an extra hand, we've got like tons of friends out here who are willing to step in at a moment's notice. And I think Lou has had a couple different emergency contacts at daycare in our friend group, which I think is hilarious. But it's really special
So
to know that we're so
sweet.
supported.
There's so
Truly.
many kids in Salt Lake City right now. Like
Best.
so many young ones.
The next generation
like
of crushers, man.
World class athletes. Insane.
It's so cool.
I don't know. Watch out, Boulder, because Salt Lake City's next generation is like, woo, they're coming in hot. Oh man, really fun. Okay, I've loved this conversation so much. You guys, I love chatting. We haven't had the four of us on in a bit. You know, it's nice to see everybody. Miss you guys. Any final closing thoughts? Maybe, Hill, is there anything you're looking forward to in the next near future?
Not waking up in the middle of the night dreaming about people getting lost at the Mammoth, or just like all the different things that can go wrong in the next few weeks.
The Mammoth 200.
The Mammoth 200, yes. No, I'm definitely in the weeds, but excited for everyone to be out there and experience it. And right after that, I hop on a plane to Hong Kong to finish some filming for the documentary that I'm working on and launch into editing that. And so, yeah, it's a busy season, guys, but it's good. I feel like, you know, it's all good. It's all things that I chose and that I'm so grateful to be able to do. And so just like in it and trying to do it all. And it's nice to kind of relax on the running side, you know, like it's been really hot in LA. It's been like 97 degrees plus humidity. And so I've just been hiking, you know, like I go and do a loop with Charlie and we hike the uphills and we jog the downhills. And it's sort of lovely to have the season of like releasing myself from any sort of pressure or expectation. And yeah, it's sort of funny because I know Rachel and Leah, you're both in that for different reasons, but it's sort of like, it is, I think, a nice reset, right? To just sort of experience being outside on your own terms and like for it not to have to be anything you don't want it to be.
Exactly. And I think that it kind of lends itself to, it means something different to everybody. And I think I like this chapter a lot right now, but I'm also really eager for what's next.
Yeah.
Leah, what are you looking forward to? What's bringing you joy besides that cutie?
We've got lots of family out here coming to see us these days. We're going out to Wasatch 100s this weekend, so that'll be Monty's first ultra to get to witness. So we're gonna take him out there, and I actually think we might do our first road trip to Run Rabbit Run in a couple weeks, where Mike might have some work. So gonna expose him to the ultra that absolutely wrecked me last year, and maybe we'll return there someday.
Geez, the race this year is going to be stacked too. It's going to be so fun to follow. Ooh, very fun. That's so fun. Okay, Rach, what about you? I mean, you just talked about it, I guess. But
Yeah, you heard it all. Just taking it slow and trying to be more gentle with myself in this recovery. Like, I think with Lou, I felt so good that I got eager to like get back to training, and I'm being really intentional about not exerting myself for a while. So working on that, and yeah, just enjoying time with the family.
do you get time off work? Like, is there?
We can take up to 8 weeks without having to extend residency. So I am taking the full 8 weeks.
And then if you need to extend, then you need to extend. But
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Awesome.
What about you, Katie?
There's so much going on. I'm also doing lots of things with the Professional Trail Running Association and Mammoth Trail Fest right now, and very much deep in parenthood and running and all the things. And also thinking a lot about my next steps as when I want to get back into medicine. So December will be a full year off, and that's just been wild to I've been so busy. It feels like it hasn't been off. But already starting to think about kind of the next plan, because I do miss medicine and miss my patients. So that's been fun, and doing a lot of kind of soul searching and what's prioritizing things. And the kids are deep in mountain bike team and hockey and soccer, and I'm coaching a soccer team, and life's crazy, always on the go. But I went to the Midwest this weekend for a big family reunion wedding, and really fun. It was a live band, and it was so fun to dance all night. And it was just one of those reminders of like, just keeping things light and happy is so nice. Like I've been doing a lot of self-reflection, and I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you just need to like not reflect all the time. Just maybe have a good old dance party, and that solves a lot of problems. Anyway, so it's fun to be in a season of thinking about the next steps, but not it being imminent. It's kind of planning, and that's fun also. So yeah, what's going on here? But thank you to our listeners, to everybody following along. This has been a great joy. We love having the podcast. We do have ideas of bringing in some folks that are new to trail running. We are getting lots of DMs about people that have questions about starting in this sport. And so we hope to bring more of that to you as well, because we know a lot of you guys have questions about that stuff. So, and we're here for it. Any closing thoughts, anybody?
You can find us on Instagram. Send us ideas for people you want to have on the podcast at the Trail Network Pod, or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. If you leave us a rating or a comment, we can see those, and it's really fun to just like hear your thoughts on the episodes. So thank you to everybody that takes the time to engage with us. It really keeps us going. And this is like episode 74 or something like that, guys. So I've been reflecting on how grateful I am for our friendships and for this little pod and the little community we built here, and all of you listeners. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to Osprey for being our sponsor, our faithful sponsor of the podcast. We're truly so grateful for all the support on the pod, but also in life for Rachel and Leah right now, especially. So until next time, guys, this was fun, and I love you all. We'll see you soon.